needs to dance, so do you.
So here we are with the Zurich Radio, first interview in English. I'm here with the organizers of Zurich's first Cube of Truth. Hey guys.
Hey Nina.
Hi Nina.
You guys are part of a collective called Anonymous for the Voiceless. Now if you would please just go ahead and introduce yourselves quickly. Just say who you are and how you got to be part of AV, as we'll call it.
That is how you call it. Hi Nina, thank you. I'm Sophie and I'm the organizer for the Zurich chapter of Anonymous for the Voiceless. And I got that amazing title a whole 5.5 weeks ago, I believe. And it's been a crazy 5.5 weeks. I've just been coordinating, doing a lot of admin and finding amazing people to come on board. And here we are today. We'll go into the story a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm Joah. I've been doing outreach for about 2 years with the Vegan Active group in Zurich, Vegan Active Zurich. And then Sophie contacted us and yeah, I totally wanted to get into it because I knew from AV a lot and totally followed them. Yeah, and so I was really happy to meet her and be involved. So I will be helping out with the outreach especially, and I'm totally happy she does a lot of organization stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Hi, my name's Betty and I haven't been active in vegan activism yet, and I was waiting for AV to come to Switzerland and was really happy to meet Sophie. I'm helping her with a lot of admin stuff.
A lot of admin
A lot of admin stuff. More admin stuff than I expected.
You're
a lot of work.
Superhuman.
Cool. So here's Betty, Sophie, and Joah. So for people who haven't heard of Anonymous for the Voiceless, the main action that they do, as I understood it, is the Cube of Truth. Mm-hmm. Explain just what it is. What's the concept and what's the goal? What do you do in this cube?
Yeah, basically the concept is that people stand in a cube, ergo the name, and side by side, dressed in black, wearing masks, wearing laptops, holding laptops that show the footage, as you said, of slaughterhouses, chicken farms, labeled organic, but it turns out that the truth is a little more dire than that. Dairy, dairy is scary. There's a title for that for a reason. And just to show it to people, put it out in the open, and when people see the footage, the concept of the cube is that someone doing outreach will go and speak to them and give them the resources to look up veganism for themselves.
Yeah, and people seem to really freak out when they see the Swiss footage because they think, oh, in Switzerland it's different. But yeah, it really seemed to hit people.
The unique thing about the Cube of Truth is that we don't actively approach people. We wait until they watch the footage for a while, and then we go to them and ask if they've seen it before, but we don't really approach them. So I think that's kind of new to vegan activism. At least I haven't seen it like this before.
Okay, so if I'm a bypasser and I see this interesting installation and I want to kind of know what's going on, because you guys also have signs that say truth. So I think that what I'm going to see on these laptops or tablets must be the truth, and I kind of want to know. It makes me curious. So I walk up, I look in, and then I might see some horrible footage. What happens then? Like if I just stand there, someone walks up to me?
So we will go there and especially ask them questions of if they have seen this footage before, what does it make with them, have they ever thought about not eating animal products anymore. And these kind of questions make them think on their own, and we hope that they choose to stop eating those products.
It helps people make the connection as well as to what happens to animals that come, from the store, and start making a better connection to the truth.
Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting because I am the one to make the decision at first. Being a bypasser, I am the one to approach the cube. So that already makes me more open to the experience. Let's talk about yesterday. This is going to be aired in a while, but actually yesterday, Thursday, the 4th, I think, of January.
Right.
What was it like? How did it go?
I mean, it started off rainy and we we're kind of upset, but then we all met together in a room and we had time to meet each other. There were a lot of new people that I didn't know yet and we all didn't know really. And it was so cool to meet all these very motivated people with all kinds of backgrounds. And it was really cool to also talk about the cube first and everyone get an idea of how it's supposed to work, because there's a lot of structure that AV has. And so after that it stopped raining like a miracle, and we went out there and said let's do this, and we used the last 40 minutes to make a cube and it worked out perfect. Like, I was really happy.
So you were doing outreach. Do you have some examples of what people's reactions were? Did you have some negative ones too, or like did anything strike you? Or
well, yesterday I had a lot of good talks. There were young people yesterday that were really interested and even decided to look into it and watch more videos, and they said they were open to try vegan. So that's really a cool step. I was really happy to hear that. I simply asked them questions and pointed out onto the video and said this is Swiss footage and stuff like that. They were really open. There was one guy working at a slaughterhouse. He was he had his really clear thoughts, but as well with questioning stuff and just showing him the footage, he kind of got into some imbalance where he wasn't sure of what he's saying. And I guess he walked away, but I guess he kind of had to question what he said, and I guess, yeah.
I was so surprised of the reactions from people on the street, because I really didn't think there would be such a strong reaction in like half an hour, 40 minutes. There were so many people stopping and reacting to the videos, and I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, me too. Like, this was my first cube, so I did a lot of outreach before, but this really attracted a lot of people. And also the Swiss footage, that was really important. That really shocked a lot of people. The Swiss people tend to think that it's totally different here.
Mm-hmm. We have the best animal welfare laws
killing
in the world.
animal must be so nice.
Don't criticize us. We're going to talk about this phenomenon a little bit, of how Anonymous for the Voiceless came about. So it was actually founded 2 years ago, I think, in Melbourne, Australia, by Paul Bashir and his girlfriend Asal Alamdari. Hope I pronounced that right. And then it just grew extremely fast. I read they had over almost 2,000 demonstrations now in over 350 cities around the world. Just quickly, maybe, how did that get to Zurich?
Well, the network around the cities is definitely great, because a guy gave me a card in Paris. I came back, posted that I was looking for EV in a Swiss group. Someone in Germany contacted me saying she wanted to start it here, and then I got my induction call from the German organizers, and here we are. So it is definitely global.
Great. And it's spreading faster. It just takes a person who's willing to take the responsibilities, even if that's quite some work, as I understood. But it can go to other cities from here, and whoever wants to know more will give them that info at the end. Now I want to talk about Anonymous a little bit, because that's one of the first things that jumps to the eye too. We have you guys are wearing the masks that are the famous V for Vendetta masks that became famous with the original Anonymous movement. That was a hacktivist collective that came a couple of years ago, but they focus more on internet politics, and like they do attacks on websites, and Anonymous for the Voiceless has been called like a subgroup. Can you confirm that? Are you actually a subgroup, or are you independent, or what's your connection to the original Anonymous? Or a splinter group,
It could
that's
be
what I've
called
read, yeah.
a subgroup, but it's not like we're hacktivists.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to be anonymous folks. We're not anonymous. Hi, my name's Sophie, you are Betty. You know, like we're not anonymous at all. But it's an artistic representation.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking, like, because they are an established collective, just like you guys have to represent what the original AV does. It could have been that the original Anonymous also asks certain things from subgroups, but that means you're not in connection. Also, the founders are not in connection with Anonymous,
No.
and it's actually, there might be some messages shared, but it's not like dependent on
Not at
that
all.
original collective.
No, and the mask, the idea of the mask is really to also keep the aesthetics of the cube, and also it keeps a kind it hides the mimic of the activists, so the people who are watching, they don't feel like they're watched by anyone. So that's also kind of the idea of the masks. And really, the main thing is it really also attracts the people, the bystanders. It looks good, it has this aesthetic.
It's definitely attention getting.
Yeah, it is.
Uns ist eine große Zukunft versprochen, wir sind jung und weltoffen, können, wenn wir wollen, hoch hinaus und steht die Tür zur Welt offen. Jeder kann hier was erreichen, du musst dich nur einleben, fertige Bahn und Fußstapfen zum Reintreten. Wir teilen uns in Szenen auf, setzen uns Identitäten auf und wählen aus ein paar Auswahlmöglichkeiten unseren Lebenstraum. Gleicher Soundset und Licht, jeder weiß woran er ist, ich wieg mich in Sicherheit und behalte den Überblick. Auf meinen Entdeckungsreisen, auf dem Weg zum Einkauf und verlauf mich nicht, wenn ich in die Erlebniswelten eintauch. Große Sortimente für verschiedene Horizonte, auf der Jagd nach Komplimenten mit dem Wunsch, man wär besonders.
Was wird sein? Was wird sein? Denk an morgen und was dann geschieht. Was verbleibt? Was verbleibt? Stell's dir vor, wenn du die Augen schließt. Sag mir wer, wenn nicht wir, muss lernen und kapieren. Wir können sehr viel verlieren, hier ist Krieg. Es wird Zeit, ziehen wir los, weil noch so viel vor uns liegt.
Mach mich frei, will nicht in eure Automatenwelt, der eine sanfte, sensible Seele sehr hart zerschellt. Alle suchen nach Macht, diffamieren und mobben, die Welt wie ein Schulhof schikanieren, verkloppen. Verfremdetes Leben, wir haben uns entfremdet vom Leben. Fernsehsender zu sehen, die uns blenden, nichts geben. Wann werden wir es endlich verstehen, hier wird getötet, gemordet. Oh shit, die Erde ist ein tödlicher Orbit. Verdammte Kacke, alle verfallen in Konsumzwang. Seit Krallen, das wär gut, man, in Gemeinschaft von nun an. Wir müssen uns bilden, wachsen werden zu Störfaktoren. Wir sind Wackersdorf, kommt, wir burn Kastoren. Lasst uns strahlen und selbst erkennen Lebendigkeit spüren. Statt uns betäuben zu lassen, lassen uns ständig verführen. Stoppt Grenzüberschreitung, bleibt wachsam und wehrsam. Brecht die Knechtschaft und befreit euch aus Kerkern. Und wenn wir uns wehren, dann ist die Sonne am Aufgehen. Kommt, wir wandern los, lasst doch die Jammern im Stau stehen. Start auf dem Schlauch stehen, bewässern wir in Zukunftstraum. Kommt, es reicht nicht, dir zuzuschauen.
Was wird sein? Was wird sein? Denk an morgen und was dann geschieht. Was verbleibt? Was verbleibt? Stell's dir vor, wenn du die Augen schließt. Sag mir wer, wenn nicht wir, muss lernen und kapieren. Wir können sehr viel verlieren, hier ist Krieg. Es wird Zeit, ziehen wir los, weil noch so viel vor uns liegt.
In 2 Wochen Abständen wechselnde Wände, die die gleiche Nachricht verbreiten, hinterlassen Aggression und Fragezeichen. Four Seasons ist gleich, zu allen Jahreszeiten, gleiche Oberflächlichkeit zu sich verändernden Preisen. Das gleiche aufgesetzte Lächeln lässt mich röcheln, doch ich stecke in der gleichen Scheiße und das nicht nur bis zum Knöchel. Und die Elite sucht gleiche Gehaltsklasse für Liebe, die Devise unterm Strich zähl ich und das, was ich euch biete. So vielfältig wie wir sind, ist hier das Angebot. Sind die Wünsche, die wir haben, davon viele lange tot. Liegen auf dem Wunschfriedhof, weil sie nicht in Erfüllung gehen. Billigbestatter.de für das kleine Portemonnaie. Nach Herkunft und Budget gibt's ne Berg- oder Talfahrt, alle richten sich danach und ein paar setzen den Maßstab. Nach Herkunft und Budget gibt's ne Berg- oder Talfahrt, alle richten sich danach und ein paar setzen den Maßstab.
Was wird sein? Was wird sein? Denk an morgen und was dann geschieht. Was verbleibt? Was verbleibt? Stell's dir vor, wenn du die Augen schließt. Sag mir wer, wenn nicht wir, muss lernen und kapieren. Wir können sehr viel verlieren, hier ist Krieg. Es wird Zeit, ziehen wir los, weil noch so viel vor uns liegt. Was wird sein? Was wird sein? Denk an morgen und was dann geschieht. Was verbleibt? Was verbleibt? Stell's dir vor, wenn du die Augen schließt. Sag mir wer, wenn nicht wir, muss lernen und kapieren. Wir können sehr viel verlieren, hier ist Krieg. Es wird Zeit, ziehen wir los, weil noch so viel vor uns liegt.
Das war Große Zukunft von Albino featuring Kalia und Lena Störfaktor. Wir sind immer noch beim Tierrechtsradio. Stehen geblieben im Interview mit den Organisatorinnen von Anonymous for the Voiceless waren wir beim Thema Masken. Diese Masken, die sie tragen, kennt man ja von der ursprünglichen Anonymous-Bewegung, die sie wiederum aus dem Film V for Vendetta übernommen hatte. Ursprünglich war diese Maske von einer historischen Figur inspiriert, und zwar Guy Fawkes. Das war ein katholischer Offizier aus England im 17. Jahrhundert. Anonymous for the Voiceless hat allerdings sich klar von dieser Figur distanziert. Die Masken haben also nichts damit zu tun.
A monkey needs to dance, so do you.
Yeah, now about the masks, actually, it's not controversial, but the thing that is that usually it's forbidden in Switzerland, as you sure know, to cover your face in any type of demonstrations. And also sometimes you hear people say who are opposed to this whole thing that they say, oh, if you wear a mask, then you have something to hide. Why would you not stand for this message you're bringing over? So you started saying it, maybe you could just say it again. Why do you guys wear the mask?
Yeah, well, I guess it's really not like that everyone wears a mask. There are definitely people around who are talking to the people, who are open and share what we're here for, what we do.
And to paraphrase, it removes the judgment from the person in the cube to the person coming in to look at footage. So a lot of people don't want to go closer and look at what's happening to the animals if they feel like they're being judged. So the mask is really there to help the person keep a blank face so people can look more and talk about it without feeling an imposing gaze onto them. For that, it's one of the most helpful pieces.
Right, so it makes the bypasser more comfortable. Can it also make the activist more comfortable?
Of course, because I think a lot of the people who want to participate in the cube, they haven't done activism before, and they might be, a bit afraid to really show their faces and also be confronted with the reaction of the bypassers. So it's really, sort of helps the activist too.
I was so happy to have it when I was in a cube. After 10 minutes I started crying, like from a mix of nervosity to also that very, a bit emotional now. There's a very peculiar look that people will have when they first register what they're seeing. And it's kind of like a dull look and really sad. And when I did a cube in London right before Christmas, and like I was watching people have that reaction, see their shock and sadness. Like, I don't know if that one look and mixed with, like just being there, being in a cube, having that mask on and watching that, like I was crying behind the mask. I was so happy it was there. It felt like a protection, I guess.
Yeah, another critique that pops up sometimes is that the horrible images could be damaging. So, like, some people say that, oh my god, what happens if a sensitive person walks by and happens to see this horrible thing, or a child, and like, I've even seen footage of parents getting really, really pissed. Like, oh, you made my child watch this? Like, what's your take on this?
Yeah, so first of all, there's a clear rule for that. Like, if there's a child where we think it's below 12 years old, alone without any parent around, we don't show we tilt the screen away from it. That's not only for him not to see it, but also because we don't want this reaction from parents, that they're upset with the cube. And the other thing is, if we're not trying to make people, not trying to offend people with this stuff, but this is the reality, and we want to show the people the truth.
And if it's a child, the cube person is always instructed, tilt the screen, put your hand up so an outreach person can come and check on the child, see where its guardians, it's his or her guardians
exactly,
are, and then make sure that they're supervised by someone.
Okay, so you try to limit protect the children, limit the damage, but if someone takes the decision to approach it themselves, even if they're sensitive, even if they might be slightly traumatized by what they see, that you say that that's their own responsibility.
I would say the animals are more traumatized.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. And if they're willing to eat the animals but not watch how they're produced, I guess then we don't have to feel guilty for showing them. If they're willing to support this harm and suffering and they're not willing to see the reality, I don't think we should feel guilty for showing the people how their food is produced.
Right.
Plus, they might be shocked on the spur of the moment, but you might be planting a seed for food for thought. Like, that's what I hope for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I watch people kind of walk by and go, oh no, I don't want to look at that, and then they walk away, but I'm thinking, if you've registered the image, then maybe it will flourish into something else, you know? Be vegan.
Yeah.
Is that something else I'm hoping for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's the only way to do it, because it's actually for that reason, for that protection of being traumatized reason, that they won't take kids into slaughterhouses, right? Well, they'll never do this because they're afraid of traumatizing the kids. So that's the only way they'll ever see it. Becoming vegan, you've mentioned it, is one of the main goals, or the main goals to convert people there. I don't know, is conversion the right word? Is that the main goal? And if so, like, what are the results?
Yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning, it's more to inspire the people to make themselves, to get more knowledge themselves and really look into it and do the step to go vegan in the end.
Also, no one's going to turn vegan on the spot right
Why
there
not?
on the
Why not?
street.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
They will,
think
they
they
do.
will, but we some people probably have never seen footage like this before, and I don't know, I think we plant seeds and they will hopefully think about it and eventually do the right decision and become vegan.
I was gonna say that it's not like conversion is a word we use, which you probably heard in the workshop yesterday, to tally up how many people the outreach people think took veganism seriously enough to do their own research. We will call that a conversion. But we don't think that anybody goes poof on the spot vegan, even though it has happened. There's been email feedback to some people around AV, so it's not like a unicorn. It does happen, but there's also, we direct people to a Challenge 22 website that has launched where people can sign up to be vegan for 22 days. It just helps people into a transition to veganism.
I guess what we want to do is really help them make the connection. We want to help them do the step and look into veganism and try it and hopefully do it for the rest of their lives to stop the suffering of the animals. Agree?
Nailed it.
So we're almost done. I mean, at this Stichwort, I just would like to know, has it been similar for you guys? Was it seeing horrible footage that turned you vegan, we could say? Is that also a reason why you like this kind of activism now? Or what did it take for you guys?
For me, it wasn't. I still can't watch a lot of the movies and footage because I know what's happening and I don't need to see it. But for me, it was a process. I've been vegetarian for a really long time and I actually thought that's enough. And slowly I've realized, it isn't. And yeah, but it was a process over more than 10 years. So I also don't have a date where I became vegan. It was just slowly progressing.
What about you?
I had to watch the worst of the worst of the worst again and again and again. I don't know why. I must have a very thick skull. And I've got a date of when I went vegan. Like, I had to really yeah, like it took a while to get to that, but once I did it,
Right.
yeah.
Yep. 2 last questions. If people are interested after seeing the footage, sometimes they get a little card, and there are some tips on there, and like what people can watch or read or do if they want to do more research. Can you tell us what's on the card, or maybe what you would recommend someone to watch if they want it?
I guess Earthlings is really good. Yeah.
Ooh, start with the most brutal. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I would try to gauge you whether it's going to be health, environment, or animals, because it's always hard to tell. I know some people have watched her things and they didn't care that much.
Yeah.
I knew some people. But so if you say a thing, I'd probably go for what the health.
So if I say what the health is
Yeah.
one, and then environmental wise?
Yeah, maybe Cowspiracy, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Conspiracy is a good one. Netflix, you guys.
we don't make advertisement for Netflix. But
No, but
there's
actually,
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
No, we don't. We don't advertise for anything. But like, there's actually a lot of things. Like, a lot of people have turned vegan by watching.
Yeah, so
Netflix.
that's great. Yeah.
So
With
it's
the
out there.
Okja movie that came
The
out.
Okja
with the
movie,
super pig.
exactly. Yeah.
And there are so many movies coming out about veganism. I mean,
Yeah.
the Carnage.
Oh, that's
Carnage,
so
yeah.
good.
It's a weird one.
Love
But it's so
Carnage.
good. It's like a whole different, approach to it. It's not a documentary, but it's really, makes you think. And
One of my all-time favorites.
it's really good.
All right, guys. Last question. I've heard this interview. I'm a listener of the show. I've heard this interview. I thought it was very interesting, and I want to participate. I want to do the next Cube of Truth. What can I do? How can I reach you guys? Where can I keep up to date on the next events? You tell us.
Well, you can go on cubeoftruth.com as a good start. If it's specific to Zurich, you can find Anonymous for the Voiceless on the internet. You can find the AV Zurich group, and it's AV, the 2 dots, I forgot what the official name is, Zurich. We're not hard to find at all. So between all social media and just the actual Cube of Truth website, all chapters are listed.
Great. And then is there going to be a regular event? What's the plan there? Is it going to be...
Funny you ask. Right after this meeting, the 3 of us are sitting down to plan 2018.
Oh,
The plan is to have a Cube of Truth a month. This will be permitting. So we'll apply for all the permits, but we're going to do the year planning today, so we should have all the dates for the year within the next week is the idea.
So we'll keep you also updated anyway on the Zurich Radio. Thank you guys very much, not only for participating, but for organizing. That's a great thing. That's about time that it's come to Zurich. And I wish you much success. And, go for it.
Thank you,
you.
Nina.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Die Freiheit. Die Freiheit. Das sehen wir daran, wie weit ein Mensch geht, um die Freiheit zurückzuerlangen, die man ihm genommen hat. Sie werden ihre Ketten zerbrechen. Sie werden ihre Feinde dezimieren. Sie werden wieder und wieder und wieder gegen alle Hindernisse, gegen alle Vorteile versuchen, nach Hause zu kommen, nach Hause zu kommen, nach Hause zu kommen.
Freiheit wichtig wie die Luft zum Atmen. Mehr wert als Reihenhäuser, Checks und Wagen. Viele checken's nicht und machen sich zu Mammons Sklaven und jagen an allen Tagen hinter Meer wie Fische hinterm Haden. Meinen keinen Schaden, solange sie am Monatsende schwarze Zahlen auf ihrem Konto haben. Vergessen dabei eine kleine Feinheit. Und zwar, Freiheit ist und bleibt das Highlight. Doch Geld, Bimbos wollen Lug und Trug und kriegen davon nicht genug. Jabs nach Status bis zum letzten Atemzug. Was macht dich zum Reichen? Fragezeichen, das Gehen über Leichen, Blutverträge unterzeichnen. Klar, Geld ist schon wichtig und ich hätte gern mehr von. Doch es wäre nicht richtig zu vergessen, wo ich herkomme. Denn was soll ich mit nem Benz, halb so groß wie ein Omnibus, wenn ich mein Weed da drin ganz alleine rauchen muss. Doch wo der Rubel rollt und Bargeld lacht, hat er mit den Scheinen auch gleichzeitig Macht. Das Gesetz ist hart, Geld macht es weicher. Alle Menschen sind gleich, bist du reicher, bist du gleich. Ja, wie die Zukunft unser Namen schreibt. schreit, es wird Zeit, befreien aus dem Leid, zeigt das Lied der Freiheit. Wir nehmen den Lauf in Kauf, sehen Wege meilenweit, check. Aus unseren Zeilen schreit, Freiheit ist so bleibt das Highlight. Wir hören, wie die Zukunft unseren Namen schreit, es wird Zeit, befreien aus dem Leid, zeigt das Lied der Freiheit. Wir nehmen den Lauf in Kauf, sehen Wege meilenweit, check. Aus unseren Zeilen schreit, Freiheit ist so bleibt das Highlight.
Maverick, es gibt so viele Möglichkeiten, den Leuten zu zeigen, nicht nur mit Worten Massen anzutreiben. Macht die Augen auf und dreht das Alphabet, das mit MVK die Raps verteilt in diesem Lied der Freiheit. Wir tun das für uns, auch für dich, und was du aus der Leere dieser Zeilen schließt, überlass dich deiner Sicht. Freiheit ist Pflicht für mich und niemand wird mir diese stehlen. So ist auch wichtig aus Erfahrung den richtigen Weg zu wählen. Ein Ziel in unserem Leben brachte mir die Religion, ein Leben aus Buchstaben, Mut und Leistung zu vertonen. Deswegen muss ich überlegen, was tue ich am Tag. Jeden Tag am Start und jede Tat macht mein Herz stark. Oft werde ich verrückt und denke an die Welt, es geht ums Geld. Und mordet man im Krieg, ist man in seiner Heimat, hält Hunger auf Erden. Die einen fressen, andere sterben. Niemand merkt, dass Politik die Menschen von links nach rechts kickt. Lasst euch nichts anreden, sei du selbst, befolgst du nicht mehr dieser Regel. Fällst du übers Bein, dass du dir stellst. Schaust du auf den Grund deines Lebens Befund, siehst einen Stern, wie der Himmel greifbar nah, andererseits so fern. Nach vorn geht unser Weg, nicht für jedermann zu offenbaren. Wir kamen, sahen und wissen, wie wir weiterfahren. Das Handeln steht jedem frei, nutzt die Möglichkeiten, denn es sind diese Freiheiten, die mich durchs Leben leiten.
Wir hören, wie die Zukunft unseren Namen schreit, es wird Zeit, befreien aus dem Leid, zeigt das Lied der Freiheit. Wir nehmen den Lauf in Kauf, sehen Wege meilenweit, checkt. Aus unseren Zeilen schreit, Freiheit ist so bleibt das Highlight.
Wie die Zukunft unseren Namen schreit, es wird Zeit, Befreiung aus dem Leid, zeigt das Lied der Freiheit. Wir nehmen den Lauf in Kauf, sehen Wege meilenweit, checkt. Aus unseren Zeilen schreit, Freiheit ist und bleibt das Highlight.
Liebe, Hoffnung, Wahrheiten vergammeln nicht. Öffne dein Herz und du siehst, Rebellen versammeln sich. Hitback und Albino mit Kollabo. Ich denk an Dutschke, Rest in Peace, hier kommt die neue Abo.
Der Mensch ist frei geboren und liegt auch überall in Ketten.
Auf freiwilliger Basis, der Geist betäubt wie durch Tabletten. Philosophen aller Zeiten blieben wirkungslos. Egoismus hängt an unseren Haken und man wird nicht los. Ich geh meinen Weg und denke nach über uns Humanoide. Bin meine eigene Legis Judy und Exekutive. An alle, die's nicht glauben, was ich rap, das meine ich auch. Leider sind so viele Menschen nur schein heilig drauf. Misstrauen ist die Folge, man igelt sich ein. Und plötzlich ist man mit dem Typ im Spiegel allein. Nein, so soll's nicht sein, sagt der Bino auf dem lyrischen Minarett.
It takes a nation of millions to hold us back.
Wenn ich die Welt sehe, dann frag ich mich, ob Freiheit für jedermann überhaupt irgendwann geben kann. Wahrscheinlich nicht, solange wir noch leben, Mann. Weder weit entfernt, noch gleich neben, Mann.
Wahrscheinlich hast du recht. Menschen, die ihre Freiheit verlieren, kann nur passieren, wenn Menschen anderer Leben diktieren.
Die einen verlieren das Spiel, wovon die anderen profitieren, weil sie die Macht zentrieren und im Herz erfrieren.
Zelebrieren ihre Taten dank korrupter Politik. Du musst kapieren, nichts zu sagen heißt kapitulieren.
Wenn du glaubst, du änderst was durch alles ignorieren, dann hast du dich geschnitten wie beim ersten Mal rasieren.
Wie die Zukunft unseren Namen schreit, es wird Zeit, Befreiung aus dem Neid zeigt das Lied der Freiheit. Wir nehmen den Lauf in Kauf, sehen Wege meilenweit, checkt. Aus unseren Zeilen schreit, Freiheit ist und bleibt das Highlight.
Wir hören, wie die Zukunft unseren Namen schreit, es wird Zeit, Befreiung aus dem Leid zeigt das Lied der Freiheit. Wir nehmen den Lauf in Kauf, sehen Wege meilenweit, checkt. Aus unseren Zeilen schreit, Freiheit ist und bleibt das Highlight.
Und weit